Hello, Bl'Artagnan here. I'm going to give you a brief overview of Strago and Ashe, along with my thoughts about whether you should be pulling for them, and I'll do it in less than 4 minutes because that's how long this royalty-free music lasts. Before we begin, you know the drill. Slam that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe. Man, I feel Jesus. Anyway, on to business. Strago is getting his LD boards for this lost chapter, and here's why that's important. Strago teaches us how to age gracefully, because he was like 70 when he got here, and now he's pushing 80 and he's only getting more swole. Imagine what he looks like when he hits 90. Actually, if you played the JP version of the game, you know what he looks like, and it's pretty nuts. In short, his LD hits harder, his Soul of Thomasa buff gives him a bunch of great offensive stats, and his LD buff extends his granted buffs by a turn, making it easier to maintain his dual cast. For those who don't know Strago's deal, basically, he's an AoE monster mage whose gimmick is that he has a buff that lets him double cast every skill. Basically just really good AoE mage, pretty simple and straightforward. Has a bunch of instant breaks and re-breaks in his kit too. I value Strago pretty high. We already know how useful like insta breaks and re-breaks can be. What I like about him is that he's a very enableable unit. He's a non-elemental attacker with a bunch of full AoE HP attacks and multiple brave dumps due to his dual cast. That's a kit with a lot of fundamental power, and I think that's very valuable. You can really build around it and enable it and push it through. If you look up what people do with Trey for a similar idea of like what people can do with a kit that just fundamentally is very easily enabled. Ashe is also getting a rework and a loaded LD. The rework's whatever, I think like her skills splash now or something, it's whatever. Here's the cincher on Ashe. On release, her gimmick was that she buffed physical attack with one skill and magic attack with the other. This was garbage. Her EX gave her paralyze. This was still garbage. You should pull for this LD because it embodies the concept that, with enough patience, the devs will eventually make even your favorite character usable. Sorry, Fang. The LD gives Ashe HP regen for the party and turns her into a Holy and Thunder Enchanter with a nifty Framed in Peril debuff, which she can maintain very easily because it makes all of her skills apply it. This makes it very hard to lock her out unless both elements are absorbed or Imperil is immune or whatever, something like that. That's already a ton of roll compression on top of her existing buffs and paralyze. It also unlocks an HP plus attack that refills the party's EX gauges and lines them up after her, just like Onion Knight, and gives them a really strong 4-turn buff with a bunch of good stat increases in there. That's some crazy utility. Note, she has 4 LD uses, and because of her EX plus, it extends all granted buffs by 3 turns, so while it's going to say it only gives 1 turn of that buff, it actually gives 3 turns because of the EX, so it'll be a decent amount of the fight. Think of it like Seven's kind of burst window type stuff with her bondage whip. I think it's very powerful. In short, I see a tremendous value in this banner because you're getting a damage dealer with some outstanding fundamentals, along with a support with some splendid roll compression and utility. If you already have Strago, I understand skipping, and honestly, I don't think either of these characters are must-have. You can definitely get by without either of them, but I do think they'll both age very, very well. I also kind of want Elnash's Burst because I'm a masochist apparently, so I'll be gemming it, but I understand if you just want to throw tickets at it or something like that. But yeah, I think that about sums it up. Again, if you have one, I understand skipping. If you skip both, that's fine too, but either way, I think you're gonna be happy with this one. How about this? Oh, fuck.